What's up? It's your man Jimmy Chan. All right, I'm outdoors in a windy day and doing the LabWork 5 answer key. So let's get into number one. All right. So number one says 6 a to the third plus 10 a squared b minus 15 ab squared minus 25 e to the third. So hopefully that wind is not blazing through. All right, so step one, this is 4 terms. All right, is there a GCF? So if I was to look at the GCF, this would be 3 times 3, 10 is 2 times 5, 15 is 3 times 5, and 25 is 5 times 5, right? There's not one single 2 that's in all 4 things. There's not 3 in all 4 of them, and there's not 5 in all 4. So therefore, there's no GCF. So step one, split down the middle. I want to focus on just this piece right here and saying what's my GCF, which is going to be a 2 a squared, and it's going to leave me with a 3a plus 5b. And what you can always do is redistribute this to see if you get that back again. If it does, that means you factored correctly. Now, since the third term is a negative, then I want to pull out a negative on that second group. I will put a negative, and my GCF is going to be a 5b squared. So therefore, I'm going to have a 3a plus 5b. Right? So now the question is, what do I have in common? And what I have in common is that 3a plus 5b. And what do I have left? I have the 2a squared minus 5b squared. Right? Now, here's the biggest part that you always want to check, right? Because this is a binomial, 2 terms. This is a difference, right? So we want to see if this is a perfect square. Although a squared is a perfect square, but 2 is not. So therefore, I'm done factoring. I cannot factor that anymore. So this right here should be choice C, and that should be my answer. There we go. All right. On to number two. Number two says 35 x to the third minus 266 66 x squared plus 147x. All right. So let's see here. If I look at these numbers here, 35 is 5 times 7. If I look at 266, I know 2 goes into it. So 2, I get left with 133. Actually, let me do it this way. 2, 133. 3 cannot go into it. 4 does not go into it. 5 definitely does not. 6 does not. But 7 does. So 7 and 19. So it's 2 times 7 times 19. So I want to and this up to 3 times 7 times 19. No, 147 is 3 and 49. And 3 and 49 is 7 times 7. So 3 times 7 times 7 is my numbers there. So that means I have 3 times 7 times 7. Might as well, you know what? So what do I have in common? I got 7 in common. x in common. So my GCF is going to be a 7x. Actually, let me do it in orange here, 7x. And what I would have left that 5 and the x squared, 2, the 19, and the x, and the 3 and the 7 with no x. All right, so what I have left is a 5x squared minus a 38x plus a 21. Okay, so I have three terms, so I have to do the AC method. So A times C is equal to 5 times 21, which is equal to 105. And my B is going to equal to negative 38. So I need to find two numbers, multiply together to give me 105, and yet add together to give me 38. And what I would get is a negative 3 and a negative 35. All right? So check those out. Negative 3 times negative 35 gives you a positive 105. Negative 38 is negative 3 plus negative 35. So now the next step is to split the middle term with those two numbers. So I leave that 7x right where is that? Okay. Then within here, I'm going to keep that 5x squared. I'm splitting the middle term with those two things. So those two things was a negative 3x and a minus 35x plus a 21. Okay. Now inside the parentheses, I have four terms again. So back to this. There we go. So the 7x just keeps on getting brought down because that's a GCF. Okay. So now I got to find my GCF in that first group, which is just going to be an x. Actually, let's use that. It's going to be an x. So it's going to leave me with a 5x minus 3. On the second group, since the third term is a negative, I'll call it negative, but the GCF is actually 7. And it's going to leave me with a 5x minus 3. So in this case, again, the 7x just gets brought down. What do I have in common? I have a 5x minus 3. And what do I have left? I have a x minus 7. Okay. So that should be my answer right there, which would be choice C. There you go. All right, so that's number 2. Number 3. Okay, number 3. Number 3 says 7x squared plus 11x minus 6. Okay, so same thing, no GCF, so I have to go into the AC method. So A times C is equal to 7 times negative 6, which is equal to negative 42. My B is equal to positive 11. So I'm looking for two numbers. Where I'm multiplying together is going to give me 42, but yet when I add together, I get positive 11. Okay. So let me think here. Let me think. How about negative 3 and 14? Okay. So one of the key things that you may want to do is if you can't find this number, so what I would tell you is take this negative 42, okay, and I will go, okay, so negative 42, and what I try to do is find a fraction of negative 42. Now, since you know that you got to add them and get a positive 11, that means the bigger number has to be a positive number, right? Since when you multiply two numbers to get a negative, one has to be positive, one has to be negative, and since when you add them together, the larger number has to be positive. Okay, so I'll have negative 1 and positive 42, negative 2, negative 2, and a positive 21, negative 3 is 14, negative 4 doesn't go in, negative 5, negative 6 is 7, right? So when you look at these now, you can go ahead and add these numbers together, and you're going to get a 41, a 19, an 11, and a 1. So that way you already know that this is your combination right here, okay? So that way you know that that's your combination. All right, so next step is split the middle term. So I got 7x squared minus 3x plus 14x minus 6. Okay. All right, so 4 terms, split in the middle, boom. GCF for the first group is just an x, leaving me with a 7x minus 3. GCF for the second group is, since the third term is a positive, I can just call positive, no big deal. And I can call it 2. And what I have left is a 7x minus 3 again. So I have left 7x minus 3 and a x. Since the 2 is positive, plus 2. Okay? And that should be answer number D. There you go. All right. So hopefully that helps. All right. So on to number 4. Number 4. This is the one that everybody has an issue with. So I'm going to have 8 times a plus 6 squared plus 28 times a plus 6 plus 20. Okay? All right. So a couple ways you can do this. You are welcome. You are definitely welcome to go, okay, I'm just going to not mess around with substitution. I'm going to say a plus 6 times a plus 6, and then do 28 times a plus 6, and then plus 20. You're welcome to do that. And then again, you'll have to take this and FOIL, or double distribute this, and then you got to make sure that you distribute this part through, okay? And then when you combine like terms, what you'll get is a brand new trinomial, and then go through the AC method. You're welcome to do that. Not my first choice, but you're definitely welcome to do that. All right. So what I'm going to show is a U substitution, or in this case, an X substitution. So I'm going to let X equal to a plus 6. So if you look at this, what do I have? I have 8x squared plus 28x plus 20, which is a regular trinomial that I understand. Okay, so I have a GCF of 4. what I have left is 2x squared plus 7x plus 5. All right, so then I gotta do the AC method just on that piece right there. So that's gonna come out here. So now I have A times C, which is equal to 2 times 5, which is equal to 10. B is equal to 7. So I gotta find my two numbers again. And multiply together would give you 10. Add together would give you 7. Which would be just 2 and 5. Because 2 times 5 is 5 and 10. 2, I'm sorry, 2 times 5 is 5 and 10. 2 plus 5 is 5 and 7. So that will work. So now I go into it. Again, the 4 just stays put. Now I'm splitting the middle term, so I got 2x squared and I got plus 2x plus 5x plus 5. Again, if I look in here, I have 4 terms. So if I do factor by grouping, so here's my line, boom, the 4 stays put. I gotta look at what is the PCF of that first group, which is a 2x. And what do I have left? I'm gonna have a x plus 2. Okay. All right. So the second group, since the third term is positive, I'm going to point out positive 5. Positive 5. And what do I have left? I'm going to have left is x plus, oopsie, 1. And then in here, this should be just a 1. I'm pointing out 2x, so I have 1 left. All right. So then I factor as a whole. So again, I have this 4. And what I have left is x plus 1 and a 2x plus 5. Okay, and make this a little tag. There we go. Now, here is what I want you to see. Here's what I want you to see. Remember this piece right here. Okay, now let this be this right here. Okay, so which means now let x equal to a plus 6. So now I'm just going to replace the x back in because the original had a's in it. That means my answer has to have a in it. So where we're going to see the blue x, I'm going to replace it with a red and a plus 6. Okay? So we have 4. Now I'm going to have a plus 6 plus 1 and 2 times a plus 6 plus 5. So I'm going to have this 4 left with a plus 7 and a, let me see, it would be 2a plus 6 plus 5. I'm sorry, 2a plus 12 plus 5, which would be 2a plus 17. Now, this is not a choice. However, since it's multiple choice, you gotta pick the one that is the right answer that doesn't change the value of what I have here. Okay? And the only one that has the same exact value is when I distribute this 4 into this first binomial, which I'll get 4a plus 28. So, therefore, my correct answer is going to be 4a plus 28 times 2a plus 17, which is choice A. We'll go here. There. All right. So on to number 5. All right. What does number 5 say? Number 5 says 98 x squared minus 72. Okay. So step number 1 is GCF. So I take 98 divided by 2. 49, 49, 7 times 7. This was 2 times 7 times 7. All right, so 98 is 2 times 7 times 7 times x. And 72 is going to be 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. Okay, and I got the subtraction in the middle. All right, so that means my GCF is going to be a 2. I got nothing else in common. Right? No x's, no other numbers. My GCF is going to be 2. And it's going to leave me with a 49x squared minus 2 times 2 times 3 times 3, which is 36. So what I have left right here is a binomial. So I got to ask myself, is it the difference, meaning subtraction? Yes. Is it of two perfect squares? So is this a perfect square? And the answer is yes. And how do I get those two numbers? Well, I get those two numbers by doing 7x times 7x. Okay? Is this a perfect square? Yes. How do I get that? 6 times 6. Awesome. If that is the case, then my answer is going to be that 2 GCF, right? And what I have left is going to be 7x minus 6 and the 7x plus 6, which is the choice number. D. Choice D. Okay, there I go. All right, and hopefully that helps. And that's the easiest thing to do is just to go, okay, what gives you that? Right? On to number 6. All right, number 6 says. Number 6 says 9 minus x squared. Okay, same idea. GCF, there is none. So the question is it a difference? Yes. How do I get 9? 3 times 3. How do I get x squared? X times x. Okay. So that means this is going to equal to 3 minus x and 3 plus Same thing as when I did this, right? Or I should say, and go, look, there's my first one. Look, there's my second one. Okay? So that's pretty simple. Awesome. All right, and this is a good way to look at if people are watching my video because that would be a big giveaway of people not watching the video. All right, and that should be choice D. Go, boom, boom. All right, number 7. All right, number 7 says x minus 9 squared minus 49. All right, so I'm going to do this the same exact way as I just did the previous two, right? So again, I ask myself, is this the difference? And the answer is yes. Is this a perfect square? It is, because I can rewrite this as x minus 9 times x minus 9, right? Because x minus 9 squared. And is 49 a perfect square? It is, because that's 7 times 7 minus plus. And there I have my answer. So I would tell you that this is equal to x minus 9 minus 7 and times x plus 9. Oops, sorry. Oh, yeah. Minus 9, because I don't want to change that. I can't change that, but plus 7 is necessary. All right, then I got to finish. So this is going to equal to x minus 16 and x minus 2. And that should be choice A. Now, you are definitely welcome to, you're definitely welcome, let's get this out of here. Okay, you're definitely welcome to write this x minus 9 out twice, and then minus the 49, FOIL this, and then get a brand new trinomial, and then factor to get to here. Okay, so you are definitely welcome to do that. All right. So that's 7. All right. The 8. What does 8 say? Everybody loves. All right. So 8 says 2x squared over 11 minus 41x over 77 plus 15 over 77 is equal to 0. I'm just going to put over 1. Okay? So, one thing that I said to you guys was, if you can get all the denominators to be the same, then we can get rid of the denominators in an equation. So if I was to break this down, this is 11. This is 7 times 11. This is 7 times 11, and this is just 1. So what am I missing? Well, this is missing a 7 and a 1. This is missing a 1. This is missing a 1. And this is missing a 7 and a 11. Right? So what do they have that I don't have? So if you look at just the individual group, like this group right here, there's a 1, 7, 11. Look at this group, 1, 7, 11. Look at this group, 1, 7, 11. And look at this group, 1, 7, 11. Okay? All right. So once that's the same, now you just multiply top and bottom by what's missing. So this fraction here, I will multiply by 7, because 7 times 1 is 7. This is by 1, and this is by 1, and this is by 77. All right, what do I get? I get 14x squared over 77 minus 21x over 77 plus 15 over 77. equal to 0 over 77. All right, so you notice denominator is the same, denominator is the same, denominator is the same, denominator is the same. Okay, so that means I can get rid of the denominator and just call this as 14x squared minus 41x plus 15 is equal to 0. Okay? All right, so now I can factor. Now, there is no GCF here. Right? So I'm going to have to go into the AC method, bring this all the way back up here. So I have A times C is equal to 14 times 15, which gives you 210. My D is equal to negative 41. So I got to find two numbers so that when I multiply them, I'll get 210. When I add them, I'll get negative 41. So one of the tricks I said to you guys was take 210, take 210. There we go. Right. I want to find factors of 210. Now, when I multiply two numbers to become positive, I can either be both positive or both negative. However, I have to add them together and get negative. So that means they're both going to be negative. So it'll be negative 1, negative 210, negative 2, negative 105, negative 3, negative 70. Okay, so as you notice, when I add these two together here, right, I'm going to get negative 73. So I'm really far away, right? So I'm going to have to go, okay, let me see here. Let's try negative 5, right? So let me get my calculator out. 210 divided by 5. So negative 5 and 40. Negative 5, I'm going to get negative 42. Well, when I add those two together, which I get negative 47. I'm getting closer. So that means I need to try like maybe a negative 6. 2 times 6, negative 35. Well, what happens when I add those two together? Ooh, negative 41. Bingo. Bingo. Oh, there we go. Right? That's exactly what I wanted. All right. So that means my two number is negative 6 and negative 35. All right. So I'm ready now. 14x squared minus 6x minus 35x plus 15 is equal to 0. I have four terms here. So what's my GCF for the first group? 2x. What do I get left? I got 7x minus 3. What's my GCF for the second group? Since my third term is a negative, I call it negative, and the GCF for the 5. And what I have left is 7x minus 3 is equal to 0. All right. So what do I have in common? I got the 7x minus 3. What do I have left? I have the 2x minus 5 here, and then it's 0. So the only difference between what I did up here with these problems, right, with just factoring to these so-called quadratic equations, because now there's an equal sign, right? That's why it's called an equation, because there's equal signs in there. So the only difference is that now I set each factor equal to 0. So it's just that one more step. So the whole idea is that one of the things I said to you guys was that this parentheses here is just a number. And this parentheses here is also just a number. So if I have two numbers multiplied together to give you 0, That means either the red is 0 or the blue is 0, or both could be 0, right? So that's the reason why I would take that 7x minus 3 and set it equal to 0, and then I'll take the 2x minus 5 and set it equal to 0, okay? So I set each factor equal to 0. So when I solve for this is going back to your 8th grade year where you had to get x by itself, right? So to get x by itself, what do? You add 3 divided by 7. So here I'll have x is equal to 3 over 7. The one to the right, I would add 5 divided by 2. So I got x is equal to 5 halves. So that would be my two answers. And the way I would write that is saying that x is equal to 3 over 7, comma, 5 over 2. And that would be my answer. And choice B. There we go. All right. So hopefully that helps. That's number 8. So on to number 9. See what number 9 says. All right. Let's just start number 9 on the next page here. Number 9. All right, number 9 says x to the third minus x is equal to negative 8x squared plus 8. Okay, so again, I see an equal sign. I see a bunch of terms that are larger than 1. Okay, so automatically I'm thinking, I'm thinking quadratic equations. Okay, which the standard form is this. Okay, and all this is saying is not, this is only for the trinomial, okay? So that helps you with the 18 method, but essentially what this is saying is this, is to get everything to one side, okay? And essentially you have 0 on the other. That is the whole goal of the quadratic equation, right? Get everything to one side so that the other side is 0. So I call it the, I know it's going to be shocking to you guys, but I call this the non-zero size. I know it's tricky, right? Because I have the 0 side and the non-zero side, right? So, with that being said, let's do that. So I gotta get everything to one side. So I got x to the third. I got to, actually, you know what? Let's do it one better. Let's go ahead and show the works. So I got add the 8x squared, and I got subtract the 8. So now I have x to the third plus 8x squared minus x minus 8 is equal to 0. Okay, so that is what my goal is. That's what I'm trying to do. All right, so with that being said, now what I got factored the left side, or the non-zero side, which is 4 terms. Here we go. So my GCF in the first group is x squared, leaving me with an x plus 8. And the second group, since the first term is a negative, I will put a negative, and there's nothing else to pull from, which is for -1, leaving with an 8. So 0. So what do I have in common? I have x plus 8. And what do I have left? I have x squared minus 1 is equal to 0. Now, like I said to you previously, I believe it was like the very first one. Anytime I see a square term on the subtraction side, I got to be careful, especially binomials. All right. And the reason for that is because Um, the question is it the difference of two squares? So when you look at this, is this the difference? The answer is yes. Is x squared a perfect square? Yes. X times x. Is 1 a perfect square? Yes. 1 times 1. Plus. So I can factor this again. You see that? So that is where my issue is. So then I can factor it to be x minus 1, x plus 1. So therefore, I need to write this thing down. X plus 8. And then this brings down to x minus 1 and x plus 1 is equal to 0. Then again, three numbers multiplying equal to 0. That means one of those three numbers has to be 0. So that means I got x plus 8 equals 0. I got x minus 1 equals 0. And I got x plus 1 equals 0. X equals negative 8. X equals minus 1. And x equals negative 1. So there's my three answers. And the way I would write that is that x is equal to negative 1, 1, and 8. And that should be choice C. There. Right, so that's number 9. So now let's go to number 10. Alright, so number 10 says x to the third plus 3x squared is equal to 10x. So again, what do I see? I see an equal sign. And I see powers that are greater than 1, right? Okay, so I'm going to get everything to the left side, so I got to subtract this 10x over. So therefore, so now I have on the left side x to the third plus 3x squared minus 10x is equal to 0. So first step is to subtract the two shifts of x, leaving me with x squared plus 3x minus 10. That's equal to 0. So now I got to factor this. You're welcome to do AC method. But I'm going to go ahead and skip that and go directly to down air. X 0. So this is going to be a plus 5 minus 2. So now, again, I have three terms here. Now, just a reminder, I said this once in the notes, but I'm going to remind you anyways. So when you look at this right here, and you see the highest power, the highest power is going to tell you how many solutions you can get. Okay, so that's the reason we have three solutions here. Okay, now to repeat, when you got to write it once, so it looks like we only have two, right? Or one. So same thing here. I have a cube here, so then I'm going to get three solutions. Where here, I actually do have three solutions, so you got to be careful here. I have to take this first x in orange and set that equal to 0 as well. Please be careful with that. We got x plus 5 equal to 0. And I also have x minus 2 equal to 0. So I got x equals 0, x equals negative 5, and x equals 2. So x equals negative 5, 0, 2. All right? And that is going to be choice B. There you go. All right. Well, hopefully that helps. If there's any questions, let me know. I'll talk to you later. See ya.